Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event featuring brother versus brother. In the red corner, from Indianapolis, Indiana, an ER doctor, a Christian, a Republican, Dr. David Blank. And in the blue corner, hailing from San Francisco, California, a computer scientist, an atheist, a Democrat, Dr. Doug Blank. Now it's time for the Blanks to rumble!
So I guess for people that don't know us, we have sort of different political perspectives. At what point in your life did you first form the foundation of your political perspective, and what is that perspective?
Yeah, I'm conservative, and I don't know. In thinking about that question, I don't know if there was a point where I actually settled on a political perspective, as well as my political perspective maybe just followed along with other beliefs or with other things that, like an overall belief pattern. So it may tie into more with Christianity and my ideas of personal responsibility that I think fit more with a conservative belief that you shouldn't rely on the government for anything, and you don't necessarily need the government to interfere with what you're doing.
So you must have a dog. So you believe that your religious beliefs and your political beliefs sort of go hand in hand.
I think that is probably true. And so as far as when, I would say that was late high school, maybe my senior year in high school, and then on through college. And I think in talking to other friends, and this is just actually my own beliefs, looking at you as well, as I think our college years really kind of defined us in our peer groups in college. Would you agree, or how would you answer that question?
Yeah, I would agree. I would say, especially my first year at college, which happened to be your second year of college, and we actually had a lot in common because we were roommates in college. Yes. that year. And I would say that definitely my anti-religious ideas and my political perspective do go hand in hand. Not to say that I come from a progressive leaning perspective. And of course, not all Democrats have a progressive, or even, some Democrats are very religious. So, it's not necessarily true that the Democratic tent only has, atheists and non-believers in it. There's actually quite a big variety of people in the Democratic Party. But definitely, from my perspective, that Democratic progressive view and my views on science and other topics do go hand in hand and sort of take me in that direction. It was funny because my first year in college, your second year in college, when we were roommates, you were studying medicine and I was studying anthropology. So already by that point, we had really made a bifurcation in our past, and we were heading on very different paths.
Somewhat. They're both science-based, but with enough nuances that it may have helped to contribute. I certainly think that archaeology or anthropology and studying the fossil record maybe help to allow you to maybe drift away from religion as opposed to
science.
Yeah, but still science. I mean, and I would say that my biology and genetics and embryology in some degree reinforces my religious beliefs. But there are plenty of people in medicine that may not be religious. There's certainly a ton of people in medicine that are more liberal leaning and Democrats. So it's not that in itself pushes somebody in one direction or another.
So it's funny though, I think I would agree with you that at that point in our lives, we sort of set the foundation for the direction that we went. Even though I did get a bachelor's degree in anthropology, but I also then went on, and my interest in evolution actually got me interested in artificial intelligence, which got me interested in computer science, which then led to the rest of my degrees and my interests. So it was at that point. I remember, in fact, when we were in our dorm room, we had a little mini debate on evolution. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we had a lot of little mini debates when
We
we
did.
were roommates. I was going to say that as far as kind of your political beliefs and maybe leaning liberal, would you say that being at Indiana University specifically, but also going through a process where you were actually in a university setting for like it seems like decades to get your degrees, and surrounded by a lot of people, specifically at Indiana University, that had liberal political beliefs, may have also helped shape you. I mean, it seemed like some of your mentors and other people uh, were all of that line.
Well, I think probably across the board. I mean, we did not go to a liberal arts college, but I did feel like the professors, of course, professors in anthropology, sociology, psychology, probably are going to lean a little bit more democratic. I mean, it seems like when you are studying people of different times and different cultures, um, you do take a really broad perspective on the world. And, looking at evolution as a means and looking at the fossils, actually holding them in your hands, there's really not any doubt about the way that life evolved on the planet.
Yeah, I would say that as far as professors go, they really did not have any huge impact on me at all. And it may be that we were at Indiana University, and especially in our, for me, in my first 2 or 3 years, even my senior level classes, some of them had 200 people in a class.
Mm,
And I remember back in the old days, for chemistry especially, there was a one room in the chemistry building that was a giant lecture hall that held 800 people. And so introduction, chemistry 101 and 102, they were old wooden seats. It looked like that room was probably built in the 40s or 50s. And so you didn't have any interaction with your professor at all. They gave lectures, and then you'd meet with your uh, student teachers,
mm.
were the faculty. If you had any questions, you'd have to meet with them. But yeah, you were far, far removed from your professors.
Yeah, that does sound terrible. I mean, I had two bachelor's degrees, one in anthropology and one in computer science, and those were not that different. I feel like even as an undergrad, I got to know my professors very well, and I think I did have a professor that I went on a summer field trip, and we worked on a dig for 6 weeks, and I don't know if we really knew people when we were in high school that we knew were gay, or we knew that were that different from us. I don't even know if when we were in high school that we knew that some of the people we were in school with were Jewish. We just didn't, at least I didn't really even, I wasn't aware of the diversity of people in the world when we were growing up in our little, well, wasn't little high school. It was one of the biggest high schools in Indiana. But even at that point, I wasn't aware of the diversity of different kinds of people until I went to college.
Yeah, I don't know if there's probably some truth in that. I remember when I graduated from high school that when we were rehearsing for graduation and we're, sitting in our seats, I had never, ever even met the people that were on either side of me. And it was like, hi, congratulations for graduation. I'm Dave Blank. Yep, congratulations to you. And
There were
so,
people in our marching band that I never met.
oh, yeah, I pretty much knew everybody.
I mean, there were 200 people in our marching band.
Yeah, but yeah, it was for me in college. It was really my peer group that I chose and surrounded myself with that had the biggest impact. And so my peer group that I hung out with was all people that were in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and those were all my roommates. My last 2 years, I had 6 roommates, and we were all the officers of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which was a big group at IU. And so it was just really living and working with those people that probably did more than anything else shape my outlook.
That can be that kind of support group can really help in one way. When you need companionship and friendship, and college is hard anyway. I guess at that point, it was a little bit later that I ran into like the Indiana Skeptics, but that was a different kind of group. That was I must admit I didn't really like the antagonism that the Indiana or just skeptics in general tend to project. It's not a welcoming view, even though I completely agree with their perspective on a lot of things. Sometimes it's a little bit more aggressive than the way that we were raised, for better or for worse. Sometimes I think that kind of aggressiveness is warranted. I mean, if you look at the anti-science stances from a lot of people in our society, it really might make sense to put an aggressive perspective on things like climate change that we'll probably get to in a discussion like this.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that somewhere down the line, we'll have to have a discussion on COVID-19, which has certainly shaped the world for 2020, but how being able to see science play out in real time in the news every day maybe enlighten some people, but created a lot of confusion about things. And in the age of social media, how that really backfired in a lot of ways. But that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, we should say in this sort of first opening video that this is October 4th, 2020. Things are very chaotic in our country, in the United States. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow and the next day, because it seems like something crazy is happening every single day. But maybe this is a good place to stop on this first intro video.
Yeah, and I would be remiss as a new vlog if I didn't at least encourage people to click that little subscribe button. If you're interested at all in following how two brothers with really pretty differing views on a whole lot of stuff can discuss those issues, come back and visit us. But this seems like a good place to at least stop this introduction.
See ya. Bye.